Hello and welcome to Quarterlight, your car brochure channel, and in today's episode, yes, of course, we're continuing our Austin Rover story with the January, February, March 1983 full range brochure, and today, the Metro. Hello, welcome back, and if you're new to Quarterlight, we're a car brochure channel here on YouTube, looking at car brochures from around the world for the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s, and sometimes beyond that as well. So if you're interested in cars, car brochures, or indeed just looking back at cars gone by, really this channel is all about memories. Please do consider subscribing, it is all completely free. Anyway, back to today's episode, and yes, we're continuing our January, February, March 1983 Austin Rover brochure. Mini last week and a bit of an introduction, so let's go on to the Metro, and there it is seen on the front cover. So let's throw it on the board now. Okay, so here is today's brochure. Like I said, it's Austin Rover Group, entitled at a time when they had too many names really, Austin, Morris, MG, Rover, Triumph. January, February, March 1983, when these Austin Rover brochures came out 4 times a year. On the front cover, well, it's the car we're going to be talking about, the Metro. And strangely, the last Austin Rover brochure we looked at also had the Metro on the front cover as well. Really, this was highlighting, this is late 84, highlighting the new updated Metro. But here, we've got sort of like the original. I kind of prefer these actually. I know, well, I think it's probably 50-50. I think some people prefer the newer version, some people prefer the older version. I always think the older versions always seem to have a little bit more character. Shown here, the MG Turbo on the front cover. You know, why not put that on the front cover? It's a time of, you know, hot hatches are starting to become a bit of a thing. Anyway, let's open the brochure up. All about Metro. Even when you turn to the front cover, they always have like this sort of like a news article talking about the highlighted car, really into the Metros again, as it was in 1984. Here it's talking about the 1983 Metro range. I'm not going to read it all out because the video is going to be long enough going through all the range anyway, but you know, talking about the range as a whole, the result is one of the finest and most comprehensive choices of small cars available, from the keenly priced Metro City to the scintillating MG Turbo. But not only that, it continues talking about Metros, talking about the new Metro range from 1983, further advancements in economy after 2 years of outstanding success in Britain and continental Europe. The Austin Metro range gets off to a flying start in 1983 with a significant package of new advancements to maintain its top-selling status. To a design which won many major awards at its launch, the 1983 Metro range brings a fine, honed maturity and a rich choice of 10 superbly specified models to meet every conceivable need. And then it's got, you know, some of these like sort of like key pictures of the Metro, I guess, is what it's trying to tell you. And then it starts talking about new features, but you'll notice they're not exactly earth-shattering changes, to be honest with you. It says feature new door mirror style shaped as on the MG Turbo model, all models, twin mirrors on the Vanden plot and MGs. And then new features, City logo on the City, tailgate spoiler on the 1 litre HLE, and it continues as such. But I'm not going to go through them all, they're very minor little changes, to be honest with you. Let's move to the actual range proper. So here it is, the Austin Metro. Starts off showing kind of like the flagship, or at least the sporty flagship of the range. And there is an early MG Turbo with this 2-colour sort of idea on there. I always thought they look certainly a little bit special at a time, of course, when if a car had a turbo you had to write it in very large letters. Today if a car's got a turbo, who cares? Showing a racetrack there. What racetrack is that? Can anyone actually identify that racetrack? If so, pop it in the comments. But anyway, let's move to the range prop, and the range starts with this, the Metro City and Metro Standard. I remember the Metro Cities, I don't remember the Metro Standard, do you? Which I presume it's talking about two separate models. I always preferred these like very basic Metros, I must admit, because of how they had the lights. I always thought they had a little bit more character. And when I think of Metro, I don't think of fancy vehicles anyway. I think of a very bog standard vehicle, and I think they suit it more at this sort of price point. Let's have a look at some of the information what these models had. So we got a 998cc A+ power unit, 46 bhp economy tune engine in standard, 12,000 mile annual service intervals, side window demisters, new shape front seats. So which model was higher? So when we look at the details, particularly when we look at electrical there, it says things like, as per the Metro City specifications, plus it had reversing lamps and a heated rear window. And then we look at interior features, Metro Standard, it says, as Metro City, plus hinged detachable rear parcel shelf, new marl fabric seat facings, passenger sun visor, ticket pocket on sun visor, and at the bottom there, front door bin. So they were all pretty basic vehicles to add something on the Metro City, wasn't it really? And when we look at the body features, it says the Metro Standard's got a coach line without the City badge, and we'll certainly look at that in the picture. So yeah, the Metro Standard, which is not a name I've really remembered, to be honest with you, was a little bit better equipped than the Metro City. And there is the Metro Standard. Like I say, I always prefer these base models because of those lights at the front, that sort of non-flush headlight. I always thought it gave them a bit more character. The higher spec models had the flush headlights at the front there. Other features of the Standard, of course, we've just read there. It's got that coach line going across. I think these base Metros always look good in this particular shade of yellow. I presume primrose yellow, but we'll double check that is the case at the end of this particular video. If we move the camera down, that is the Metro Standard fascia and the Metro Standard interior. I guess I don't remember the Metro Standard because I know where it would actually say standard on it. It would just be an unbadged car, whereas the Metro City, of course, had the City decal on there, but no side stripe. So yeah, the most basic Metro at this time. Interior is not too dissimilar though, slightly different fabric seat on there. And also the Metro City didn't have that sort of parcel shelf, although in this case it's just showing it folding back. You could go higher specs though and still have those same front headlight look and go up to the L models in both 1 litre L and a 1.3 litre L. You got reclined front seats with head restraints, asymmetric split folding rear seats, push button LWMW radio, 46 bhp economy tune engine in the 1 litre, and a brake servo and low profile tyres on the 1.3. And here is our L model, now back to having a little bit of a coach line going down the side of the car. And like I say, these sort of indented headlights, certainly I prefer those, although I'm not sure I would have gone for an L. I probably would have just gone for the base model, to be honest. Although certainly split fold seats have their advantage, don't they? Even showing the sort of parcel shelf and how you could fit it at the back of the seats there. Dash. A slightly different steering wheel though. To be honest with you, who cares? I would have been quite happy with the base to be honest with you. We get head restraints and nicer seats certainly on there, and there is the model looking quite quizzical in his Metro L. So that takes us up to the HLEs, and this is really where the higher spec models take over, really. We can certainly see the different flush headlights now on these. I don't hate them, but like I said, I just prefer those cheaper looking models for some reason. Who knows why. These particular ones had the new 1.3 HLE. We get a 3+E transmissions, opening rear quarter lights now, remote control driver's door mirror, and 64 miles per gallon at 56 miles per hour from the 1 litre HLE. Zooming straight in to this particular one's the 1 litre HLE, which weirdly there is a slight difference with. If you notice, we've got these rather wonderful, I really like that tailgate spoiler actually for the Metros. That's certainly approved. Telling us at the front there this was new for 1983 on the 1 litre HLE. Although in the notes it also tells us the 1.3 HLE doesn't have this, which is weird, isn't it? You would think that would be the other way around, but there we go. Just on the 1 litre HLE arrived a standard spec in 1983. But certainly, I think that would be weird to see. I don't know how many HLEs I actually saw with that on, but like I say, only the 1 litre had that. Weird. Next to it is the 1.3 HLE. I don't know why that didn't have the spoiler on the back. Who knows? You'd think that would be the sportier model, but no. But we can certainly see those flush headlights at the front there. Oh, we also get these rubbing strips there to avoid you getting the supermarket car park dings all the way down the side there. So that was certainly a nice feature on a city car that was probably going to spend most of its time in and out of supermarket car parks anyway. Notice though, like it said at the start there, no passenger side wing mirror. It's interior. Wouldn't say it's a fun interior, but there we go. The material looks quite nice. We've got these unusual head restraints. Look at the rear and that split fold again. And then if we move over, a look at the dash with this improved steering wheel over the base models. Looks like we've got a clock in there and a speedo, but overall pretty basic. Although I do like this idea of this little bit of a shelf just to throw all your junk on there. This little picture, not entirely sure of the point of it, but anyway, let's move on. This takes us to this peculiar model, the Metro Automatic, at a time when Austin Rover liked to have separate models for the automatic rather than saying you can get that as an option for whatever reason. Always seen as a more upmarket model, as we can see with the flush headlights. It's telling us we get a 4-speed auto gearbox, tweed seat facings, push button LWMW radio, bronze tinted glass, and a remote control driver's door mirror. A little look at the dash, the auto gear stick, and also a little lady there showing the remote control driver's door mirror. Like that's a huge thing. But then we move down, we can see those seats, and like I say, that's now tweed seat facings. And there is the car itself. But anyway, let's move on to the next model. But then that takes us up to the MG versions, this time the non-turbo, the MG Metro 1300. Let's have a look at some of those key features. So we get an uprated 72 bhp power unit, alloy sports wheels, which I think is rather nice to give them a standard. That rear window spoiler that we saw on the 1 litre HLE, sports style front seats, and opening rear quarter lights. Dash, or at least the instrumentation, is a vast improvement. Now we do get a rev counter in this sporty little wheel, although I always thought the angle of the wheel on Metros was a little bit peculiar. There are those very simple but very nice looking alloy wheels actually, with the MG badge in the middle. A look at the rear, and we can see that spoiler on there at the back. And I always liked, and it's only a tiny picture, so it's hard to really see in great detail, but I always liked that sort of like that sort of grey sort of decal stripe going from the lights, and the MG Metro and that 1300 badge. I always thought it looked quite nice, that actually. A look at the top of that engine. Another look from the front there. I actually think it would have looked quite nice with those indented headlights. Sorry, I'm going on about that again, but yeah, it's got the more upmarket flush headlights, of course. All the decals really shouting that this is a hot hatch. Red seat belts, for goodness sake. Those nice little alloy wheels. It does look the part. Again, looks like we've got that racetrack once again. A picture for really no apparent reason. Maybe this is what you look like if you was an MG Metro buyer. They're the seats. I do like how they liven them up a bit with a little bit of red in there on the door cards and the seats, but we must move on. This is probably the model you wanted though, the MG Metro Turbo. I've never driven one of these, but I bet they're a lot of fun, even by today's standards. I'm sure they're great little cars. The main features it tells us we've got a 93 bhp turbocharged 1275cc engine with electronic ignition, ventilated front disc brakes with 4 piston calipers, uprated suspension, 165 by 60 tyres, 13-inch alloy wheels, moulded front spoiler with brake cooling ducts, and a light emitting diode boost gauge. So a similar sort of idea with the seats and that sort of red piping idea. A little look at the dash. Still very basic, isn't it? We got this unusual placement of this digital clock. Opening rear quarter lights, and I guess your MG Metro Turbo buyers. A look at that all-important turbocharged 1275cc engine. A different alloy wheel, and then a look at the back. And again, I do like how they did these graphics on these MG Metro Turbo. And there she is, MG Turbo, and of course that big flash down the side, that turbo which we looked at before, MG badge in the middle. Certainly a very interesting model. They did update it though, as we saw in 1984. There it is. I do prefer the alloys on these. These are a very interesting MG alloy, but overall it doesn't seem as special somehow. I don't know why. Certainly they did improve it though. I mean, it had a nicer interior, etc. But overall, I think I preferred the earlier example. One model left though. The flagship, the luxury Metro, the Metro Vanden Plas. So let's see what you got with those. So we get 1275cc power unit, Rachel luxury fabric trim, wood door cappings, a glass sunroof, and opening rear quarter lights. That's what your little Vanden Plas badge would look like if you zoomed in there. Interior still looks pretty cheap looking, doesn't it? Even on this top model, you get this sort of fancy 3-spoke steering wheel with the VP in the centre though. It looks like you do get a rev counter. I think the seats are where the money has gone though. Fancy sort of headrests on there. Certainly look a nice comfortable seat for what is a very budget orientated city car. Bit more bright work there on that front grille. We don't get alloys though, but we do get little tiny Vanden Plas centre hubcaps on there. What more do you want? And of course this is going to be your Vanden Plas buyer, isn't it? Obviously you're going to have to wear a fur coat, you have to kill some creature, and of course you have to go to the theatre. This is your typical Vanden Plas owner of 1983. But you do get this rather cheap and nasty sunroof. Oh, here they are again. Your typical Vanden Plas Metro buyer. Vanden as well grew up in late 1984 for the 1985 model year. Although in some ways it doesn't stand out as much. Yeah, you got a little bit of bright work on that front grille. You got a more standard sort of wheel trim on there. Didn't look as special, I don't think, but again, the interior is where it's at. Certainly the interior of the Metro grew up a lot for all the range in this for this 1985 model year, but you can still see on the Vanden it does look a bit nicer. Although I would still argue it's possibly lost a little bit of its character. So colour choice for your Metro in 1983, you could have the Aram white, you could have that Cinnamore red, Primla yellow, you could also have silver leaf metallic and black moving down. You could also have that very 70s colour of clove brown. You could have your cashmere gold. You could also have eclipse blue and a Porto red metallic. And then also you could have those rather lovely colours of opaline green metallic and zircon blue metallic. So there we go, a quick look through the range of the Metro in January, February, March 1983 and the colour range. If you've got any memories of these Metros, please jot it in the comments. Always love reading those. Next week, rather strangely, the Morris Ital. Yeah, still hanging around in the Austin Rover range. Should have gone ages ago. Possibly shouldn't have ever even been built. But there it is. Very elderly vehicle by this stage, certainly. Really, they're trying to sell these by price. But we'll look at the Ital range. So that's an interesting one for sure next week. But thank you so much for watching today. As always, we'll say, if you've not done already, please do consider subscribing. It is all completely free. Helps you, helps me in many different ways. But thank you so much for watching today. I'll add a couple boxes there. One will be for this brochure. We've looked at the Mini and the introduction last week, but eventually we'll have the whole Austin Morris MG Rover Triumph January, February, March 1983 brochure within that box, and I'll add another random review for you to have a look at as well. But like I said, please do subscribe. It is free. We'll see you very soon. Please do take care. All the best and goodbye.